The kids are still at practice, and I have no idea what's for dinner.
You can get a rotisserie chicken and 2 sides for just $15 in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express delivery.
Who said that? Who's in my house? Don't play with me, because I'm not the one.
It's just your friendly Walmart announcer. This is a commercial.
Oh, okay. You were saying dinner for a family was just $15?
Yep, it'll be at your door by the time you get the kids home from practice. Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Subject to availability, restrictions and fees apply.
Now that was a helpful commercial.
Saturday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Saturday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Saturday. Saturday, bring it on.
Hey, Fidelity. How can I remember to invest every month?
With the Fidelity app, you can choose a schedule and set up recurring investments in stocks and ETFs.
Oh, that sounds easier than I thought.
You got this.
Yeah, I do. Now, where did I put my keys?
You will find them where you left them.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Welcome to another Find the Edge production for the Premier League Cricket Club. Connecting players and coaches, clubs and leagues, volunteers and supporters alike, you're in the right place for the best of the 33 ECB Premier Leagues and the 20 NCCA counties, bringing you the stories, the stats and the standout performances that make this game great. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to both our Premier League and NCCA shows so you don't miss any episodes. Now, shall we get stuck in? So welcome everybody to the first of our Maiden Cricket shows brought to you from the Premier League Cricket Club. And joining us today, we've got myself and Mr. Newsom as always. How are we doing, Hugh?
All good, excited.
But more importantly, we've got someone who knows about what we're going to talk about. You know, we're learning as we go along and we're getting guided by this lady, Ellie Threlkeld, Lancashire Thunder captain and Trent Rockets player going forward this season in the new 100 draft. Glad you're coming down our way instead, Ellie. A bit more driving for you.
It's drier as well.
Just a bit to co-host the Maiden Cricket Show and talk all about women's girls cricket. How are you doing, Ellie, out in Bangalore?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, really good. Yeah, nice and warm out here in India. And yeah, great to be playing some cricket outside. So yeah, all good.
Hugh, she's right bang on all straight away. She talked weather. She's got weather in the first.
It's essentially the weather podcast with a sprinkling of cricket. But surely Trent Bridge, Bangalore, very, very comparable. You know, they are two peas in the same pot, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's brilliant prep for the season coming up. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
I think we'd all rather be in Bangalore than a early spring in the UK. So I'm very, very jealous. But yeah, it's all about to kick off in how long have you got before the first professional match starts?
I think it's around about a month, just less than. Yeah, it's absolutely flown round. So yeah, it's getting exciting now.
Yeah, so we've been talking on the cricket mentoring pod for a while now, Ellie, and you've obviously been doing a lot of indoor stuff and you've been introducing everyone what you've been doing there. But what we want to do for the audience today is more or less just take it back to the beginning, get them to know what you're doing and where you've come from, but also where women and girls cricket's going, because it's so exciting what's happening at the moment in women and girls cricket. Well, let's go back many, many years ago. For those of you who haven't noticed, Ellie might have a very similar accent to me. She's one of those strange animals like me who's actually played cricket in Liverpool, and there aren't that many of us, are there, to be frank, in comparison. But you're from Knowsley and you're a Rainford girl when it comes to cricket, aren't you?
Yeah. Often get called a fake Scouser. So yeah, a little bit of an accent in there. Family are from Liverpool, and yeah, growing up in Rainford playing my club cricket there. So. And
who introduced you? Was it your brother who's a stalwart there, or was it the family itself?
Yeah, no, it was my older brother. Not really from a cricketing family. Dad played a little bit, but yeah, it was all my older brother really. We often laugh about he really wanted a brother so he could play sport in the back garden with him. Gutted when he found out my mum was having a girl, but yeah, that didn't really seem to matter in the end. And yeah, just remembering like my early days of playing was just in the back garden with him really. yeah, had some good battles out there, often ended in tears, as you can imagine. But yeah, no, he's been sort of a massive influence on me getting into the game, and still one of my main support networks around the game now. So yeah, early memories of playing in the garden, and then played a little bit at school, not loads, and then went down to Rainford with him, and often just played on the side, picked a bat and a ball up, and got involved that way. Really, there was quite a few of us who actually had older brothers, so at the time, quite rare at this point. There was probably 4 or 5 girls who would train on a Friday night as well. Like I said, yeah, pretty rare at the time because like girls didn't often play cricket really. So that was quite nice. They sort of fell out the game as they got a little bit older, and I just sort of carried on really, played with the boys all the way through, and played men's cricket as well. So I often get asked that question, like, do you think it's right for young girls to play men's cricket? And I absolutely do. I think it's amazing now. Probably talk a lot about the growth of the game, like it's unbelievable, but like that definitely did so much for my development as a player and as a person as well. It was character building at times. But yeah, no, absolutely loved playing for Rainford, and really grateful for sort of both my brother and the club for everything they've given me, really. And yeah, still like to play when I can. Obviously, them opportunities are slim now with our busy schedules. But no, yeah, absolutely love it down there. And from there, sort of got picked up in the Lancashire setup from the age of 9, really. So played under 11s at Lancashire for a couple of years, and then came right through the system. And yeah, I think I'm probably one of the only players who's done that and still playing first team cricket now. So it's pretty special to sort of captain the club I've grown up playing for, really. So yeah, I've been playing there for a long time, and made my senior debut at the age of like 14, I think.
I had to work that out when I was looking it up. I was like, really?
Yeah, which actually, like you hear that now and you're like, goodness me, that's young. But at the time, like, it was so normal. Like the likes of Emma Lamb, who's done similar, come right through. She probably was even younger when she made her debut.
Okay.
And at the time, like, yeah, you were so young, but it was so normal because actually to field 11 players was a struggle at times because the pool of players was so small.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're in a position now where the pool of players is growing and growing, and selection's getting harder, and cricket careers are getting harder to have, and it's amazing the way the game's grown and the way it's going as well. But yeah, I've played sort of senior cricket for a long time at Lancashire now, which I think, again, grateful that I got that opportunity so young, because you sort of do feel a little bit out of your depth, and you do a lot of learning on the job, I guess. And I'm now in a position where I'm 26, but I've played a hell of a lot of cricket, which I'm hoping is going to sort of stand me in good stead for the next few years ahead, really.
Absolutely.
Just you had a split sporting career as a youth. You were a footballer as well, and doing a bit of research, you had to make a choice at one point. I mean, what age were you when you had to make that choice between the two careers or potential careers?
Yeah, I think I was 17. So I grew up playing football as well. Again, massive influence from my older brother, really. He played both cricket and football, and I just sort of followed his footsteps, really. And started playing for Liverpool at the age of 9 as well. So played both sports at a pretty elite level, I guess, for a number of years. And I was in my last year of junior football at Liverpool. So at the end of that year, I would have either got a reserve contract or I wouldn't. And I think at that point, my cricket was sort of really taken off. I was on England programmes. I was missing loads and loads of football for cricket. So to get in that starting 11 of a weekend was really difficult. So spending loads of time on the sidelines, which is understandable because I was never at training. I was never there. I was missing games. So completely understood that. But at the same time, I just knew I wasn't going to get a reserve contract, really. The likelihood of that was pretty slim. So I left on my own terms in the end. Sort of, I always laugh saying I jumped before I was pushed, if you like. So I think my ability made the decision for me in the end, really. I think my cricket was going so well that I'd have been stupid not to go all in at that point. And also, like, as a youngster, you just want to play. And I think standing on the sidelines, I was just hating every minute of it. And yeah, I'm glad I did that on my own terms. But at the same time, it was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make because I've grown up a huge Liverpool fan. Like I said, my family, I was born in Knowsley, but my dad's a proper Scouser, massive Liverpool fan. And to sort of have that conversation with him that I wanted to leave the club, and I knew it was the right thing to do, but it was still very difficult. And I'll never forget that day that I had to have that conversation with our coach. And he was the coach who coached me from under 9s, and he'd moved through the age groups with me, and that was really difficult. I remember just being in floods of tears when I told him I was going. But then I went to at this point I was at Winstanley College in Wigan. And I did A-level PE there, and a few of the girls on my A-level PE course played football for Wigan Athletic.
Okay.
And they were in a couple of leagues lower, but also gave me the opportunity to just, like, actually, if I missed training, it
You can
wasn't a
still
big
play.
issue. Yeah, I turned up, I played 90 minutes every single week. I started off as a centre half at Liverpool and slowly worked my way up the pitch and ended up playing centre forward at Wigan, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I look back on my football career and they were actually the most enjoyable days, really. So again, that was brilliant. And then when I got my full-time professional cricket contract, which was after COVID, I never went back to football then because I wasn't allowed to, which was pretty rubbish, really. I really miss it, but also, yeah, understandable with the sort of schedules we've got now. So
Hugh, I've got to ask a very important question. Did you ever get to play on Anfield?
no, I didn't. I didn't.
So you never got to play on Anfield, but you bloody well turn out on Old Trafford instead.
I know. I
I
know.
mean,
We
it's
used
just
to.
as
We
a
used to
Liverpool fan,
train.
Ellie, come on.
I know. Gutted. I know. But the again, similar to sort of women's cricket in a way.
Yeah,
Like when I played at Liverpool, like we were often training and playing at schools, and
yeah.
like you think about that now, and you think you're playing football for Liverpool, and you're turning out on a Saturday to play a game against Man United at a school pitch. And again, like that just would never happen now.
No.
Like the facilities and everything are unbelievable. I often, like, some people say to me like, "Oh, like, do you have any regrets in life?" And I'm like, actually, I regret that I didn't get fitter quicker when I was at football. I think I only sort of realised the impact and the importance of that when I like my cricket took off, and the support I've had around that with cricket has been phenomenal. But actually, when I was growing up, they didn't have an S&C coach, so actually all the fitness stuff was led by the football coaches. Whereas now you're on full-time S&C programs, like it's individualized to what you need as an athlete, and it's honestly the support is incredible. But as a youngster, you don't know what you're doing, do you? You just turn up and you just play, and you just get told what
Yeah.
to do, and you do it. And I think, yeah, like we've spoke about how the women's cricket's developed, like women's football, you would think is in a similar place now, but back then it wasn't quite the same. So
You've been part of a sort of a big shift. Your career started just as women's cricket was really starting to take off. Obviously with the World Cup in 2017, is that right? And then the move into the 100. You've been at that sort of cusp of it shifting into a much more professional game, and then it looks like over the next year or two it's going to explode again with it. It just seems like now is a really exciting moment for women's cricket in general.
yeah, definitely. I remember watching that final at Lords in 2017. I was actually sat in the stands with Sophie Eccleston, which is absolutely mental, the fact that she wasn't playing in that. But yeah, we went to watch it, and obviously like an unbelievable game of cricket. And like it was a packed out Lords Stadium, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about it now because that was the moment I remember looking around thinking, oh my goodness, like this is going to be huge. And it has been, really. I think that was amazing. I think it coincided with a lot of the women's football stuff taking off as well, like winning the Euros and stuff like that. And it just felt like women's sport was in a really, really good place. And I think that is the case, that it seems like one sport has a knock-on effect on the other. But yeah, like again, I often get asked, like, do you wish you were 12 now, just starting your career? And I don't, because I think the journey I've been on, I've seen it from both ends. I've seen it develop, and I think as a player, we've got a huge role to play in that. And I think I've really enjoyed that sort of responsibility of paving the way for the next generation and trying to inspire that next generation. And I think, yeah, it's a huge sort of responsibility on our shoulders as players. And I think I've really sort of enjoyed that, and I've enjoyed seeing the changes. And yeah, hopefully I'm still young enough so I've got a few years in the tank to experience the other side, I guess.
Just read my mind. You're 26 years old. You have had 100 appearances for Lancashire. Nobody else has done that. But you've actually still got a long way to go in your career. So the learnings that you've pulled for that last 12, 13 years, as it's built to the professionalism it is right now, and where it's going to go over the next 5 to 10 years, you're in a fantastic position to watch and just learn or teach people along the way almost, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's amazing how quick the game's growing. But I think it's also like scary in a way of how quick the game's moving as well. And like as a player, like you do feel like more under pressure the more time goes on. It's not just a case of, oh, I'm the captain, I'm going to keep and I'm going to bat at 5 for the next 10 years. It's actually, you've got someone breathing down your neck now, and it's like how you sort of perceive that. I guess like I sort of thrive off that, and like I like back myself to work harder than other people and to do well. But it's also like it's not just a given that I'm going to have a 10-year career from now. So it's like, as much as it's exciting, it's also like you've got to keep moving with the game, which I think it is exciting. It pushes you to be better as a cricketer. It pushes you to sort of never waste a minute of training. But yeah, it is really exciting. Like I said before, the pool of players is just growing massively. And previously, like from a Lancashire Thunder point of view, the team would pick itself. But this year, it's actually, you've got 20 girls fighting for 11 places, and it's really, really difficult. Everyone's game's moved in the winter again. People are starting to lose contracts now, which has never happened in the game before. So like that pressure element, it's starting to come now, and I think that's what we want as players. Like we want it to be professional. We want it to be like the men's game, and I think like the more money that's invested, the more that's going to come, and that's just what comes with being a professional athlete, I guess. And that's sort of the side that people don't often see. I think it's like people just see, oh, you're a professional cricketer, it's amazing, but actually you're probably under the pump every day. You don't know how long you're going to be in this job. There are sides of it like that people don't see. So but it's all exciting. I think you've just got to see it as that, really.
Absolutely. The journey's begun, and the journey that you started many years ago is just going to exponentially over the next few years go through the roof. And not just yourself, but lots of the other women and girls who are coming through the pathways in our counties right now are going to become household names, like the male cricketers have done for many years. For the listeners who are listening now, they always like to know a bit more about these people. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. You're a Liverpool fan, full stop. Well done. You wouldn't be on here otherwise, because I did that research and I wouldn't have even spoke to you in the first place. Outside of cricket, what else do you do? Because right now as a professional, it's all encompassing, but there must be other stuff that you do.
Yeah, I'm actually quite busy, to be honest. I've got a sports psychology career on the side, so I'm about 9 months away from being qualified now, which is pretty exciting. So
that's quite a big side hustle, to say the least.
Yeah. I think again, like the way women's sport was when I was younger has created me to have another career, which I think again, like I'm actually really grateful for. I think if I was starting my career now, I would be all in on cricket, because I'd be like, well, there's a professional contract at the end of it for me. Whereas at the time, there was never that. So I always had to study on the side. But I think, like I said, I'm really grateful for that, because now, as much as I want to be a professional cricketer for the next 10 years, if that doesn't work out, then actually I've got another career that I'm really looking forward to and I'm really enjoying. So, so I'm pretty busy with that. And I do coach as well. So sort of like got dual different caps on different times, really. And I think it's also good because a lot of the things overlap. So I find coaching helps my sort of development as a player. Find that the sports like stuff, I've like got a lot better mental processes in place as a player now. And like similarly, like sports psychology helps my coaching, playing helps my coaching. And I think the combination of the three gives me better credibility in all three, I guess. So pretty busy with like work, really. Often people say, what do you do outside of cricket? I probably sound really boring because I don't really do a lot of what people would say fun stuff, but I don't find it quite hard to switch off. And as a player and as a captain, like cricket can be really, really consuming, and like not being able to switch off from the game as a captain is probably the worst combination to have, really. It's quite a stressful job, but I actually find like having like other things to switch on to rather than just actually trying to sit there and just relax. I'm really bad at that. So actually throwing myself into other things like helps me sort of stay pretty stable and helps that sort of life balance element.
So you don't watch any crap telly?
No, I don't. That is something everyone's always talking about, series on Netflix, and I've just got no idea. I honestly live in my own little bubble, but I really like it that way. Like actually, again, switching off for me looks like taking my dog for a walk on the beach, and it's just the little simple things in life I enjoy. Going grabbing a coffee, and I'm really lucky actually. I think at Lancashire, like my teammates are some of my best mates as well. So going to work, you're just playing cricket with some of your best mates, and seeing them outside of the game as well is obviously quite like-minded people, and really enjoy their company. So got a good sort of support network around me. Love spending time with my family. So I don't have loads of fun stuff to talk about, to be honest, but I'm pretty busy.
So as a future psychologist and a coach, when you nick off for naught and trudge back to the changing room, chuck your bat to the other side of the changing room.
She's never done that.
And enter your kit everywhere. do you then sit down and go, well, actually, I should have played this shot and I should have done this, and then I should have handled this better. No, I should have been calmer in the moment and all the rest of it. Are you able to apply your psychology training to your cricket, or does it sort of go out the window when you step across the white line?
I think, yeah, definitely I'm able to apply it. I think it's like in cricket, you're going to get out. That's inevitable. Like, how many times do you play a game and not get out? So I think for me, it's about like, have I gone about it in the right way? Was my process right? And actually, if I've done that and I've got out, I'm pretty happy. The times I get frustrated is when I've like took the wrong option, I guess. I think like I'd like to think I've played enough cricket now that I should understand the game, read conditions, I'm always trying to do the job the team needs me to do. So when I feel like I've let the team down, that's when I get pretty frustrated. But again, like that's a normal reaction. I think like I allow myself to feel those feelings, but like, can I get back to sort of talk about riding a wave in the season? Yeah. Like, can that wave be quite small rather than being really, really up and down? And it's similarly from a captaincy point of view, like you often carry the weight of the world like on your shoulders a little bit and the weight of the team. And again, that's quite a normal feeling. But I think like if you can sort of sit and rationalise things, it's a lot better. And I often find like our head coach wants to talk to me straight after the game. And I'm someone who likes to just take a little bit of time. I'm a big reflector. So I think communicating that with him and actually let me sleep on it, let me talk to you tomorrow. Just gives me that sort of time to park the emotion, because like you say, it's difficult. I wear my heart on my sleeve when I play, and I think that's a good trait to have. But actually, like, I'm quite emotional, but after a game, if I take that little bit of time to reflect and sort of remove the emotion and think a little bit more logically, I'm a lot better at sort of talking after the game and give that more sort of logical and honest review. Because I'm pretty hard on myself as well, I guess. Like, that's another trait of an athlete as well. I feel like you probably wouldn't get to where you are if you weren't critical and you weren't sort of always trying to improve and get better. So I guess there are times I get it wrong, but everyone's human. I think that's it, isn't it? Everyone thinks I've probably got it worked out because I do sports psychology, but I had a training session today and actually, like, my batting performance the other day, I got it a little bit wrong, and that's okay. Like, I've not got all the answers, nobody has. So it's just about trying to find out what works for you and trying to be sort of as consistent as you can with those sort of processes, really.
Yeah, and I'm going to do one of our classic Radio 5 links here, Hugh. One of the reasons we've got Ellie to join us on the Women and Girls podcasts and the shows that we want to put together is because me and Hugh, we don't have all the answers when it comes to women and girls cricket. And hearing that from somebody who's in it and has been in it for many years, that's incredible to hear. That I'm sure when you were 11, 12-year-old at Rainford, you didn't think that way. And I'm probably thinking when you were 17, 18, 19 with Lancashire and you were going through that thought process of footy cricket, you still weren't quite getting there, but now you've got the maturity and the experience to be able to think that way and tell those youngsters back in the Lancashire under-13s that's how they should be thinking, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think again, like, it's like every day's sort of a school day, and you sort of you realise that as you get older. I feel like when you're younger, you just want to complete cricket and you just want to do well all the time. And that's, again, it's quite normal. Like, everyone wants to do well, but cricket's a game where if you're a perfectionist, you're in the wrong sport. Like, you're going to get things wrong. And yeah, it's sort of like that process versus outcome thing again. Like, if you're trying to do the right things, the outcome will often take care of itself a lot more. Often laugh about, like, actually, you might inside edge your first ball for 4, but actually you're on 4 off 1. Perfect. Like, it's like... You can't get wrapped up in being perfect and trying to middle every ball. Like, it's just never going to happen. And the sooner you sort of realise that, the better. But I think as well, the more I've got older, the more I sort of welcome criticism and feedback. I think particularly when I got the captaincy, I was obviously buzzing to sort of take on that role, but I also felt so out of my depth. Like, tactically, I didn't know what I was doing. Just sort of like learning on the job. And even now, like, again, we played a game the other day and I just got the power play so wrong. And I knew it at the time, but I sort of knew something was wrong, but didn't know what the answers were. And it wasn't till after we played the game and came off, I had a bit of time to think about it. And I chatted to our coaches today, and like, we were both on the same page about what we got wrong and how we could do that better. And like, yeah, like I said, every day's a school day. You're still learning. Like, I've captained for 3 years now. You're still going to get things wrong. And there's a lot of what ifs as well. Like, I spend ages thinking about the games and what if I'd have done this, what if I'd have done that. And sometimes I overthink. I had a situation the other day. We played a game and we played a 10 over game. and like we never play that sort of format. But at the end, like I was like really overthinking my bowling changes, and actually it was a 10 over game. There wasn't loads of combinations you could have done, and actually we just lost the game of cricket. Like it wasn't that deep, and I was so in my own head about what I'd done, and I actually just needed that conversation with our coach, and he said, Ellie, I really think you're overthinking this. So yeah, like you get things wrong, and it's just about learning from that really. And I think the sooner you embrace failure and embrace getting stuff wrong, the quicker you learn and the quicker you can put it right next time. So
definitely.
So when you head into this fines meeting you're heading to in a few minutes, does this all get brought up again and you have to cough up?
A little bit. We sort of try and stay away from on-field fines because it can get pretty brutal. But I have a few like blonde moments in life as well, and I get enough off-field fines to not worry about the cricket stuff.
So
hang on a minute. Hang on. When you say enough, is the skipper one of the worst culprits?
Absolutely, yeah. Honestly, I'm thinking of filing a case to HR for bullying. It's there's just no respect from the kids these days, you know. Got pushed in the pool fully clothed the other day.
Go on, name names. Who's not respecting you? Who's pushing you in the pool?
Liberty Heap and Sophie Morris, two of our youngest players, pushed me in the pool fully clothed the other day.
Now I'm going to back Sophie all the day though, because I did an interview with their chairman last week, and Jez speaks so highly of Sophie and the way she's come through the system, club cricket, Upton Cricket Club. So she was just obviously doing club cricket type stuff with you. That's all, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's always good to have a bit of banter, isn't it? She's a great girl, is Sophie. But I've said to them both I'm going to get them back some point on this trip when they're least expecting it. So I think I'd rather be in my position right now. So
a skipper who might sit on selection every now and again.
That's it.
Yeah, you've got to think of these things, haven't you? Hey, let's talk before we let you go to your fines meeting. Let's talk about what's going to happen over the next year or two in this landscape of women's girls cricket. That if you think back 10 years ago to where it is now and the growth and the way it's developed, I mean, you rocked up and you said back in the day, you only just had a pool of players to get 11 out. Now, I mean, I know inside out, the professionalism that you've been going through just for pre-season, it's second to none now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think we're in such a fortunate position as well. Like with all these changes in the tier 1 and tier 2 systems, a lot of people have gone through a lot of change with that. Whereas I think like Lancashire have been unbelievable with us right from the start, and actually nothing's changed for us. Like yes, we're now called Lancashire, but in my head, even when we were called Thunder, I always used to tell people I played for Lancashire. And actually the club and Daniel Gidney, the CEO, and how they've supported us has been unbelievable. And a lot of people are fighting for a lot of equality at other clubs, and I feel like we've never really had to do that. I feel like we've always been put as equal to the men's team, and facilities access and all of those things that are going through at other clubs. Like we've never had issues with that. So yeah, I think like not a lot's changed for us, but I think it's really exciting in terms of where it can go. I think this sort of new partnership that Lancashire have got with Look Now, like now is really exciting. Obviously, there's a lot more sort of money to come in terms of where that's distributed. I don't really know. I think sort of facilities and stuff like that are going to probably get better.
Got a new ground for Lancashire coming.
Yeah, it's only going to help our sort of facilities and development and professionalism really. So, but yeah, I think like the sort of one club, two teams mindset that Lancashire have always had's been amazing, and we've got great relationships with the men's side of things as well. And I think as a club we're pretty tight knit, which is brilliant. I can't sort of speak highly enough of those people, and I think it is down to people. I think like a lot of people like try and do the right things, whereas I actually think like we've just got good people in our environment who do the right things. Like nobody's forcing Keaton Jennings to come and like watch me bat and like give me some tips, but he does that because he's a good bloke, and I think there's so much of that goes on. It creates a really healthy environment. So it's been amazing.
That's all positive, Ellie. Let's be brutal about this, because this is what we want to talk about through the season. What are the barriers and the challenges that the women and girls game's going to face over the next 2, 3, 5 years? The money's going to trickle down slowly but surely. We know all the way to the recreational game as well, but there's still going to be challenges and barriers along the way.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's it, isn't it? I think the more like our setup gets professional, it's amazing. But actually that gap between where we are and women's club cricket is only going to get bigger. And then what's happening to the next generation? Are we producing players? Like, I don't know, like what the pathways look like. I think at Lancashire, again, we've got a brilliant county age group system, but how are those players being produced? Like, what does club cricket look like? And I know there's a lot of work going on in that space, so I'm hoping that that'll sort of take care of itself. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some barriers. There's always going to be like players wanting more. There's always going to be more people can do. But yeah, I think there's some brilliant people in brilliant positions working for the foundation at Lancashire. Some great people doing great stuff in club cricket, and they're often the people who get forgotten and go under the radar and don't get any sort of praise or rewards.
You mentioned the money there, and so Ellie, you've been part of the 100 since day one. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. I mean, the 100 took an unbelievable amount of flack across the country, and some of it justified, some of it not. But for the women's game, it's been transformative, and it's led. The IPL has, you wouldn't say copied, but they've seen the success of the 100 women's franchise tournament, and that's kicked on, and it's obviously the WPL's the highest paying women's sport per match in the world. I think something along those lines. Are you feeling pretty smug now with this money? The 100 franchises have been sold, all this criticisms. All of a sudden, there's 30 million quid in the coffers of every county, and 50% of that is due to the women, or possibly even more. For just it's worked since day one from the women. The men's stuff's been a bit controversial, but do you feel pretty smug? Do you feel proud of your efforts to bring the women's game to the fore in this country?
Yeah, definitely. I think like the 100's been such a vehicle for change in the women's game. I think it's an unbelievable franchise. And I think I know there's been a lot of criticism around the men's game, and I sort of understand that, but at the same time, I wouldn't say that's been a failure. I think it's still been a brilliant competition. I think if you ask any player who plays in the 100, it's their favourite part of the year. They absolutely love it. But again, for the women's game, it's just put us on a platform where our games are visible to watch, and I think it showed that if you put that out there, that people do want to see it. I think I've seen crowds grow year on year. I think the first year it was quite obvious that people would come for sort of the end of our game and watch the men's game, whereas now it's pretty much you get 2 tickets, 2 games of cricket, and the people are there from the start to the end. And I think for us, it attracts the best players in the world, and that's why if you look at the sort of money and where the money's going, it's going towards the top brackets, and that's really understandable because actually they've got to keep up with the IPL, because ultimately if you're not paying these Australians enough money, they're not going to play in the 100. And that's what's brilliant about the competition. For a domestic player like me, I get to play with and against some of the best cricketers in the world. So take sort of last year, for example, met Beth Mooney for the first time, unbelievable human being, and actually incredible around the group. And for my cricket, I learned so much off her. And that's priceless for a domestic player like me to learn from people like that. So much so that I nearly took a retention at Manchester to be her number 2, just because I really just wanted to learn from her, and that side of the game, something that people probably don't realise, but you're surrounded by so many unbelievable cricketers. So yeah, I think there's the 100's been unbelievable, and I think it's going to continue to grow, which is really exciting. And I think from the IPL teams buying out the 100 teams just shows how important that is, and how much they want to get involved. And it's brilliant to be a part of.
I think what I've seen from the outside in, and I'm old enough to say this as well, is the women and girls game through the 100 made it far more saleable. The IPL guys in particular said, actually, we could see the opportunity here. It wasn't just the men's game was already there. There was a level, but the women and girls was coming through. And I describe it very similar to back in the day when the Premier League football started. Because if we hadn't have had all that money going to Premier League football, and those overseas players didn't start coming to play around the Premier League, would the Premier League be the vehicle it is, and the tool that is right now around the rest of the world? I don't think it would be. If you look at Italy and Serie A, it's nowhere near as big as the Premier League, but there's nowhere near as many overseas players go to Italy as they do come to us. And I think that's exactly what's happened with the 100 here, isn't it, Ellie?
Yeah, definitely. I think I got asked a while ago, I can't remember who I was speaking to, but someone said do you not think it should just be a competition to develop domestic players? And I said no, because that's what our domestic T20 comp does. I think that's why the 100 is so brilliant, because actually it's closing that gap between domestic and international cricket. Because actually, if you think about England women playing against some of the lesser countries, if you like, and dominating, like the 100 is a better standard of cricket than that. And actually, like if you can perform in the 100, you're showing people that you're ready for international cricket. So yeah, it's definitely sort of bridging that gap and giving us the best standard of cricket to play. And as a player, that's what you want. So
Absolutely.
I mean, the difference for me, I mean, just from my own personal experience, in 2018, my kids and I were down and we got tickets to Loughborough Lightning, and you got some lovely deck chairs down at Loughborough. You could sit out in the deck chairs in the sunshine and watch the cricket, and there was, I don't know, 200 people there, probably a few more than that, 300 people there. A few years later, COVID aside, I've got my daughter and my son, and we're at the 100 watching a women's game, and there's 20,000 people there. And that's the difference. And for my daughter to then she's there, she's getting the autographs, she's getting the, into the experience, and it's just, she absolutely loves it. And she's just a microcosm of every child you take down to the 100. Yeah. A lot of this, the people grumpy at the 100 do not have 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old kids. If they did, they would not be of the same opinion, because the kids absolutely love it, and it just opens their eyes and shows them, the possibilities, and particularly for women and girls cricket.
Yeah, definitely. I remember the very first year of the competition, they did so every game's a double header. And I think the double header model works really well. Again, People have said, like, do you think it should be standalone games? I don't, because I think the models work so well. Like, if it's broke, don't fix it. Like, you just carry on doing what you're doing because it's working. But I remember the very first year of the comp, they did a standalone women's game. I don't really know why they did it. I think it was to launch the competition, but it was Manchester. Manchester were involved in it, and I played this game at the Oval. And, like, that was the very first game of the comp, and the stands were full. Yeah. And I literally, I remember walking out and having goosebumps, and I was like, oh my goodness, all of these people are here to watch us play cricket. They had Becky Hill performing at half time, obviously quite a big name, and there was fireworks, everything was going on. And honestly, I actually don't know how we managed to lose that game of cricket, because the win predictor, it came up with 30 balls to go, and the win predictor said 99% chance Manchester were going to win. And we somehow managed to mess it up. But anyway, wrong side of the result. But that day,
experience.
Honestly, in the dressing room, I was just, after the game, I couldn't believe what we just sort of experienced.
Fantastic.
And obviously now that's the norm, and you get used to that as a player. And it's great to see that that's happening on a more regular basis now. But I'll never forget that day, because, again, similarly to that sort of Lord's final I spoke about before, that was a wow moment where you think, women's cricket's in a really exciting spot here. So yeah, that was an amazing experience.
The experience that you've brought from that, Ellie, is obviously one of the reasons of many that I asked you, would you come and join us on these pods and start to bring the women and girls cricket to a wider audience through ourselves as well. What sort of, what do you think you're going to bring to us when we bring a guest on from, let me pick an example, when we bring a guest on from Sheffield Collegiate Cricket Club, women and girls and their organisation, how interested is that for you in terms of that club and recreational background as it's coming through to the professional game?
I'd like to think I'll bring sort of, experiences from different levels. I guess I've come from where women's cricket started to being involved in where it is now. And like I said before, I've got a sort of a real interest in trying to inspire this next generation and continue all the good work people are doing. So yeah, I feel like I'll sort of bring quite a bit of experience, but I also think I'm quite an open book. So I guess, whatever I can offer, I will do. So I'm pretty excited about it.
I think what we've talked about, Hugh and I, when we've been talking a bit behind the scenes about what we want to do, is we want to be able to just bring a flavour of what's happening out there in women and girls cricket to the audience. There's as we said last year, there's tens of thousands of bloody podcasts out there doing test match and international cricket and county cricket. There's bugger all doing Premier League cricket and NCCA, which is what we do. In this case, there's not that many doing women and girls cricket yet either. One of your ex-colleagues is doing the biggest one of the lot, obviously, and our friends at Zero Ducks Given keep getting beaten by Alex and Kate, but that's bye. Sorry, Toby, mate. But we need more audience. We need more people listening to what's going on and getting those little what's happened when you're down at the play against the Blaze. But also, we'll be talking to people from Sheffield Collegiate. We'll be talking to people from Froster. Be talking to people from, say, Lee Cricket Club, who are going to play in the Thunder Cup which the Lancashire Foundation are putting on. Things like that are really exciting, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like you said, the more we can sort of put it out there, people are there to listen to it. And I think, it's going to help grow the game, which is ultimately what we want. And so hopefully people can find it quite interesting.
Well, we certainly do. And I know Hugh, with his daughter in particular, finds it exceptionally interesting because we can see that pathway come. Hugh, we want to be talking to your daughter in, 5-6 years' time in Bangalore?
Well, do you know what? I will be talking to her in Bangalore because I'm going, if she's going to Bangalore, I'm going with her. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. However, I'm going to get sponsored. I'll be the one getting sponsored. I'll do some parachute jumps so I can afford it.
Absolutely. Hey, great to chat to you and bring the first sort of flavour of what we're going to be doing, Ellie, over the coming months. Look forward to catching up with you when you're back in the UK, and looking forward to you moaning and groaning about the weather compared to what you've had in Bangalore.
I'm looking forward to hearing about what she got fined for as well.
Check out Ellie's Instagram. So if she doesn't put the fine meeting on there, we will be asking questions.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can disclose that information, to be honest.
Oh dear.
Well, all I'll say is if Liberty Heap and Sophie Morris are jumping in on you again, I think you need to disclose it.
Yeah, I do. I hope they get fined for that.
No, hey,
pushing the captain in the pool.
Great to chat today, Ellie. Look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thanks,
Ellie. You too. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us at the Premier League Cricket Club. We'll be back soon with more from the world of Premier League and NWCA cricket. But in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review and follow us wherever you get your socials. Or maybe check out our website, premierleaguecricket.co.uk, to stay updated. Until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
My name is Georgios Tsetis. I'm the co-founder of Nutrafol.
My hair started thinning in my early 20s. I tried everything and nothing was really working. So we created Nutrafol. Our hair growth supplements undergo clinical trials and have helped millions of men and women get visibly thicker and stronger hair in just 3 to 6 months.
Hair growth starts from the inside at Nutrafol.com. That's Nutrafol.com.